Hi, this is Timothy Zahn, author of Thrawn, and you're listening to Star Wars Reactions. Good for you.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
In 1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All of it.
One of resistance,
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
rebellion,
Rebellion is built on hope.
and redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We are back with our 126th episode, and we are going to have a blast today. We got a lot to talk about. I would tell you, it's been a crazy day. So let's get the introductions out of the way. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me is the 3PO to my R2, the David Modders. David, brother, how you doing?
Good, man. Doing really good. Looking forward to record with you. Looking forward to react with you. And yeah, we got some news before we jump into our continued coverage of Star Wars Visions Volume 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely we do. So we are recording this on the night of Thursday, May 18th of 2023. And wow, this afternoon, a bombshell of a story dropped and has been confirmed. And it threw me for a loop when I read it. And that is that Disney has announced that they are closing the Galactic Starcruiser because it has been underperforming. So a little over a year and a half in it, they're pulling the plug on it. It's very surreal. It's like, I'm shocked, but at the same point, there are things that pointed to the fact that I shouldn't be surprised. But the final voyage that's going to be open through September. The final cruise on the Starcruiser will be the 28th through the 30th of September of 2023. If you according to the article, if you've got trips scheduled for the Starcruiser after that date, they will be reaching out to you, rescheduling to either get you rescheduled to a earlier date or get you moved to a different hotel or so on. But this is huge and shocking news that came out today. And I know, David, you and I have been talking about this off the air for a little bit, and and I've talked to a lot of people online today, and some friends and stuff, and it basically what it boils down to is, I mean, the Starcruiser experience underperformed what they were wanting, or what they expected. And, I know from talking to my friends and talking to, and what I have and what the people I've talked to online gone through, a lot of the reason people aren't going is because of cost. It is just so much money for just 2 days, and it's something everybody wants to experience, but not everybody can afford. And if they can't afford it, it doesn't matter how much they want to do it, they're just not going to go.
Well, you nailed it. And you and I had heard rumors and grumblings. I know other podcasts, not ours, but other podcasts have talked months ago, because I try to listen to some other podcasts, as our listeners know, other Star Wars podcasts, and they were talking months ago about, and I didn't know this because I don't really follow the industry and stuff like that several of the bookings, the cruises were canceled. People have been getting rebooked. The article you sent me, Aaron, talked about them, Disney trying to kind of rebook people and make sure that the cruises are filled and stuff like that. And so, I just didn't think it, it's having problems, but I thought, well, revamp this, tweak a few things here, do that, adjust prices, etc., and try to do things to increase demand, right? But when you sent that to me, and that it was closing permanently, I was like, wait, what? And so it was a big surprise. And I kind of feel like, the last time I think we were on, announced that I'm going on the Galactic Starcruiser. It's not my fault. Yeah. Well, it's not my fault. I'm not part of it.
You jinxed it.
I know. And
it's a trap.
It's a trap. Right. I know Admiral Akbar is going to be on there with us. It's going to go down in flames, all of us. But, it's, you and I talked about it. It was something I wanted to do. I wanted to do it with, the Coffee with Kenobi crew and stuff like that. And gonna go and really enjoy the heck out of it next month in June. And like we said, it's closing in September. But you and I had some ideas, and I liked yours when you texted me earlier today, that you could really see them, redoing the outside and inside and truly making it kind of what people were talking about back in the day, a Star Wars hotel, right? So we'll see. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe not. Maybe they'll have a completely different idea that we're not even thinking about,
Yeah, it'll turn into, they're going to close the Starcruiser and turn it into a Guardians of the Galaxy hotel.
Right.
Everybody gets a Zune.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they changed Tower of Terror out in California Adventure to Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and yeah, I could see that. Yeah, instead of Star Wars, that. But it's proximity. I mean, you and I, live here in Florida. I saw the Starcruiser being built. Every time I went to Disney or I was hanging out with you down there, and I would drive, and I could see it over there and being built. I mean, it's right next to Hollywood Studios. I mean, you can literally throw a stone from inside of Galaxy's Edge. You and I could chuck one over. If I could really throw it far, and I could hit the top of the Galactic Starcruiser over there. It's that close. So it makes intuitive sense that it would just be a Star Wars hotel. But what do I know, right?
What do any of us know? Apparently.
Apparently.
I mean, the David mentioned, and the ideas we kicked around, and the big one I spitballed was that he said he liked was basically shutting it, the immersive experience Galactic Cruisers, shutting it down, which is what they're doing. Then once it's shut down, they're basically do a remodel of what they have, add additional rooms, and basically turn it into something you would get at like Art of Animation or Pop Century, or one of the other resorts, where you can actually go and stay for multiple days, but it's themed for Star Wars, but it's not that immersive experience. At that point, they can actually charge a more affordable rate because you're not having all these performers in there. You're not having all this extra entertainment that has to go on, all these special meals that need to go on because it's supposed to be a Star Wars meal. You can actually it can actually be a hotel, just Star Wars themed. And that's kind of what I was hinting at. And a lot of people I'm seeing online are saying the same thing. So, but Disney hasn't said what they're doing with it. It's just that it's shutting down. I'm sure come post final voyage, they'll make an announcement. Once they're probably workout plan. They probably have a plan. They're just not going to say anything now because they want to sell out the rest of these voyages before that closes. That way they can get the most they can before it closes, then announce they're doing this other thing, and then they'll go from there. But
I think you're right.
We'll see, because I don't see them just leaving it vacant.
No.
They've got too much invested in it to 100% walk away from it. It is Star Wars themed, so I can see a rebranding of sort, but we'll have to wait and see. So if you have the ability to go, do it now while you can. You got till the end of September to go on your Galactic Starcruiser. If you got it, go for it. If not, you could sit on the sidelines like me and say, I wish I could have.
and then, like you said, use the money to go to a celebration someplace.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
All right. Moving on. David and I will actually be together hanging out at Disney Springs coming up on June 11th. Our buddy Dan over at Coffee with Kenobi is going to be in town, and he's having a huge meetup over at Disney Springs at Jock Lindsay's. And we're going to be joining him over there, hanging out, reliving some of our good old Coffee with Kenobi days. Because if you are new to the show and you're unaware, we actually used to be, back in the day, a part of the Coffee with Kenobi family back when it was a whole podcast network and there were multiple shows. We were one of those shows and are now off on our own. But we love Dan. Dan is still a very close friend of ours. We love them. So any chance we get to hang out with the Coffee with Kenobi family is always a great time. So if you're in the area and you want to come hang out with us, Jacques Lindsay's on June 11th, the meetup. So why did I not write down the time?
It's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. I'm like,
Yep.
I wrote down all the details, but I did not write down what time we were meeting. It's 7 p.m. Thank you. 7 p.m. Jock Lindsay's, Disney Springs at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. We'd love to see you there. So, and of course, speaking of Coffee with Kenobi, yours truly, as well as David, me and David, both have appeared on episodes of Coffee with Kenobi since last week. David was on episode 648. I was on episode 650. Both episodes were discussing Star Wars Visions. David discussed the first 5 episodes. I discussed the latter 4. And they were a lot of fun to do, a lot of fun to record. So make sure you go over and check out those episodes of Coffee with Kenobi if you want to hear us talk more in depth about Visions with other people, with Dan and I was on in 650 with Colby Mead from Colby Cast, who was actually on our show a month or 2 ago. And you were on with who, David?
Yeah, no, I was on. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get these notifications turned off. Just know I know they're there. I'm trying to do it. No, I know yours was released today. Mine was a week ago today, May 11th, episode 648. And I was on with Alex Marmor. He's a Yale University employee. He does work there with, I believe, a psychologist. I'm trying to remember her name. I got to look at it again. But he, big Star Wars fan. It was really fun to record with him, and definitely want to get him on our show. And I told him that. Lot of fun. He just really wants to be a part of Star Wars, and he thought, I'd like to get on some podcasts and stuff like that. And so, yeah, Alex Marmor, I think it's Marmor, and a real nice guy. And we had a blast, covered 1 through 5, right? And you did 6 through 9.
Yep. Sure did. Yep. So definitely want to check those out and show them some love, because we had a blast recording them. So check them out. Last but not least in our news, it is not too late to get your thoughts submitted for our Return of the Jedi special. We're recording that next week. So all submissions must be in by the 21st, which is Monday, I believe, right? Monday the 21st, or is Monday the 20th? Monday.
No, it's the 21st, because I think we're going to record the 20th. Wait, no, let me look real fast. Let me double check.
Monday's the 22nd.
Yes, by Monday
the 22nd. So
okay.
All submissions have to be in by Monday the 22nd. Sorry about that, guys. Monday the 22nd, because we'll be recording it on the 23rd. And you can submit that any way you want to. You can message us via any of the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. If you want to send us a message via Tumblr, you can. You can email us, swreactions@gmail.com. And you can either write it out and send it to us, or you can send us an audio clip and tell us what you love about Return of the Jedi, what appeals to you about that movie, your memories of the movie. We're going to share. We just want to have a good, feel good episode, and we of course will be releasing this on Thursday, the next Thursday, the week from today when we record, the 25th, Thursday the 25th. That will be a special release day for us. We normally release on Fridays, but we'll release on the 25th, which is exactly the day, the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. We've gotten several clips already. So I'm going to, can't wait to share those with y'all. It's going to be a blast. We're just going to have some fun reminiscing and walking down memory lane, just talking about Return of the Jedi, and it's just going to be fun. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that, buddy. Looking
Absolutely.
forward.
I am too. It's going to be great. And we just want y'all to be involved. So make sure you write in and join us, or send us an audio clip. Either way, it's going to be great. So that takes care of all of our news. We're done with that. So this week for episode 26, our discussion, we are going to be looking at and sharing our reactions to Star Wars Vision Volume 2, episodes 4, 5, and 6. In our last episode, we did episode 1, 2, and 3. This week, we're doing 4, 5, and 6. So let's jump in and get the ball, get the, oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Carabast. For the record, y'all, if I even remotely sound different right now, it's because I have a cold and my head is cloudy, and I apologize in advance. There'll probably be more Carabast moments to come, because I'm just, my meds are kicking in. So
You're doing a great job, buddy.
So we're going to make it through, because I wanted to discuss this, and here we go. So episode 4 is going to be is first up. That is entitled I Am Your Mother. This was, of course, released May 4th, 2023, aka Star Wars Day. Written by Holly Walsh and Barunka O'Shaughnessy. O'Shaughnessy. Okay. Wow. Thank you, David. O'Shaughnessy. I never would have gotten O'Shaughnessy from that spelling. Wow.
I'm always here to help, buddy. I'm here to decrease the Carabast moments.
Yes. So this was directed by Magdalena Osinka and was produced by Studio Aardman. This episode, a young Jedi named David, why don't you take the synopsis?
I'll do it. I'll do the synopsis. Yes, I'll help you, because you're already you always lead the way, man, and you do a great job with it. So, the synopsis is: a young pilot, Annie, embarrassed by her clingy mom, Kalina, must team up with her in a madcap race called the Hannah City Flight Academy's annual race day. And so that's the quick synopsis, and hijinks ensue throughout the whole episode. You want to jump into some talking points?
All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the talking points. Sorry about that. I had to take care of some things, and I'm already a couple Carabast in, so I went ahead and put on my Carabast hat. So,
nice.
Let's talk about this. This was a fun episode, honestly. It was cute. It was fun. Pretty good. I love the fact they utilized Wedge Antilles in this. With the character first popped up and he was talking on the ad for the race and everything, I was like, okay, cool, a Rebel pilot. Then he said Wedge Antilles. I went, what?
Yeah.
But I thought that was awesome to include Wedge in it. That was pretty cool, and good to see. And this was a cute episode. I mean, there was a lot I love the racing aspect of it, because that kind of takes me back to the pod races in episode 1. Of course, all the starship races in Resistance, which were a blast. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I am so glad we got to do that. Got to see this. It was just a lot of fun. What are your thoughts on I Am Your Mother?
No, I'm with you. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I didn't like this as much as I liked. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this. Jeez, oh, Pete, a lot of Carabass here tonight. But we're going to get through it. Maybe like Disney's Day today, right? A Carabass Day here. Well, boom. Sorry, I had to say it. But no, I thought it was really cute. I did actually, that Magdalena Osinka, the name you heard Aaron say, who she directed it. She was on the panel, and Amy Ratcliffe interviewed her on that Monday, that last day of Star Wars Celebration, and it was really neat to hear her speak about the creation of this episode, or this particular Visions episode, and her own mother was out in the crowd, and she was so proud of that. And so it was really neat to see her speak and her excitement for it. And then, of course, kind of put it into action here between a mom and a daughter and stuff like that. There's a number of points. Aaron hit the Wedge Antilles. I loved seeing that and that character and some of the humor involved there. Something I mentioned on Coffee with Kenobi when I was on last week is and Aaron mentioned some of the things that make you think about other Star Wars shows and movies and like I said, animated shows. For me, it was Z1, right? Showing the hologram of a young Annie and her mother pretending to fly together. I watched all 3 of these episodes we're covering tonight, just now between 7 and 8, and then Aaron and I jumped on. So I wanted to watch them again a second time, third time, I think, on some of them. And I really liked watching this scene again, and it really reminds me of R2 showing the hologram of that R2 does to Leia, right? To Luke in the Last Jedi, right? And so that was really cool. That was really cool, and I felt like it had the same effect, right? This emotional pull of really kind of. In essence, it pulls Annie into the race, and R2 pulls Luke back into the battle, right? So really like that. A few other things I can say, Aaron, if you want, because I know your voice is not 100%. If you want, I can jump in. The Ryloth roll, I love that they showed it in the hologram, and I love that it ended up defeating the Posh Pants. I love how Annie's mom, Kalina, calls them Posh Pants. And the Posh Pants are Dorota and Julian von Riepel, and the von Riepels, and I don't know, I really enjoyed seeing them lose. So that was just fun, always fun to see the bullies get their comeuppance.
Oh no, absolutely. It was the whole thing was a lot of fun. I was thinking about it today after I rewatched the episode, looking at the whole race. You have the Von Riepels in their black slick starship at the race, and then of course you have Annie and her mom in this garbage heap that stuff's constantly falling off of, and it reminded me of a movie that came out in the 90s. And did you see the Little Rascals movie?
I did not. Well, no, bits and pieces. When my kids were younger, I remember they had it on one night. What do you think about?
Well, because I went back to that race, because in that movie, the whole thing ends up being about a car race where they built their own little car and they have to race it down a hill. It's it's kind of like a soapbox derby, but with actual cars, little race cars they built, and it's all based on gravity going down the hill and everything. And you have the little rich kid who's actually played by Macaulay Culkin's brother, Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone. It's his little brother who is the little rich kid that's trying to steal Darla away from Alfalfa. And Alfalfa, and of course, oh my gosh, I just blanked on the other kid's name. They have their He-Man Woman Haters Club race car. Don't hate on me. That's what the club was called. And they have their little club car, and it's literally just like pieces of boxes that they hammered together. I mean, it's just like falling apart wood. I mean, at one point, I'm pretty sure it breaks during the race, and they're holding it together. It was hysterical, and it kind of reminded me of that race there. This episode reminded me of kind of that race, because they're just trying to get through everything, and they're mending their relationship as they go, which is another thing I really liked about this episode, is that mother-daughter aspect, because you and I are parents. We have a great unique perspective on being parents, and seeing her, Annie, being embarrassed of her mom and the car and everything. How many times I could think of how many times I've embarrassed my daughter just by showing up. Dad. I mean, it's gonna happen.
That's right.
But it's just a fact of life. It was a very relatable relationship.
Yeah.
Which is what I liked about this episode. The animation was beautiful. It was very unique. It was different. I liked it. But I think my absolute favorite part about this episode was the way I could relate to the relationship between Annie and her mother.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Unlike last season where it was all anime, right?
Yeah.
This season has a whole bunch of stuff, and this, of course, is Aardman, who does the Wallace and Gromit cartoons, and does this kind of claymation. It's just a different look. It really is, and I do like to see different animation styles. I do want to say that, and like you said, I do enjoy the mother-daughter relationship, and just the humor that ensued. It was really nice.
Oh, also, and one last thing before we wrap up on this episode, I Am Your Mother. Let's go. Oh my gosh, Carabast. Oh yeah, Z1.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Slinky from Toy Story.
Yes.
The Slinky dog.
Yeah. Yes.
From Toy. At first, I thought it was just like a regular little droid, and then all of a sudden she turns it on, and all of a sudden it's on all fours. I'm like, okay, and all of a sudden it starts slinking around. I'm like, Slinky.
Yeah.
So, Slinky dog race at Hollywood Studios. So, but yeah, that's what I thought. That's the other thing I wanted to throw out there. I thought it was a nice nod to Slinky dog. So, all right. Any other thoughts on I Am Your Mother before we move on?
No, I feel good about that.
Perfect. So we got 2 more episodes to go through. What we're going to do, though, real quick, is we're going to take a real brief break. We'll be right back to continue our exploration of Star Wars Visions. Hang on. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here. Star Wars Reactions. We are discussing the next episodes of our Star Wars Vision. Wow, Carabas. I can't even get a coherent sentence out tonight, people. I'm sorry. We're discussing the next episode of Star Wars Visions right now, which is the 5th episode, Journey to the Dark Head. This was also released May 4th, 2023, written by Chung Si Rang, directed by Park Hyung Kien, and of course made by Studio Mir.
Yeah.
This episode, a hopeful mechanic / pilot named Era raised in a hidden temple on the outer rim planet of Dulgarak, excuse me, and a disillusioned Jedi named Toll, who has seen Jedi and in particular his Jedi Master cut down by a Sith Master named Bishan. Bishan. Yeah, I had to be careful how I said that. It could have come out really bad.
Right.
That would have been a Carabas moment in and of itself. But anyway, they team up for a most unlikely quest to turn the tide of the Sith Jedi War.
Yeah.
Of course, we see other Jedi Masters in there as well. Master Duda, Master Legasam.
I think it's Lisagum,
Lisagum, and Master Moru.
Master Moru, yeah. I saw those listed in the credits, and I do think Master Duta is the one who agrees to Ara's request to be sent on the mission. She's smiling and encourages it. Master Lisagum, I think he's the one who says, "Are you really going to entertain this?" And I get a sense Master Moru was the one who goes to the training facility and says to Toll that you've been chosen for chosen for a mission. So that was pretty cool. And I did say that on Coffee with Kenobi, I'll jump right in. I one of the coolest things about this episode, Aaron, I thought was seeing that Jedi Council set up on, I guess, what looks like a space station, right? I thought that was beyond cool. And I was like, wait, is that the official one? Is it not on Coruscant? Of course, this is not canon. I know that, but I thought it was so cool. And being able to look out, Aaron, between the various Jedi Masters out into the stars, I just thought that was really neat. So, yeah, there's a number of things. And I'll even jump in and I'll say this, Aaron, just to kind of get us started as well. This is my favorite of all 9.
Really?
Yes, it really is. Because I think as I watched all these, I really love Sith. Oh man. And then this just barely beats that out. And I, like I said, I mentioned that on Coffee with Kenobi last week. I think this one's the most Star Wars of all of it, and I guess we can dive in. I don't know, your thoughts. I have a ton of them, but I could talk for hours on this particular episode.
Well, I enjoyed this episode too. It was really good. Not my favorite. It's actually my second favorite episode.
Okay.
But this was really good. There were a lot of awesome things in there. I love what you said about the Jedi Temple and seeing the Jedi Council.
Yes.
In this setting, it was really cool to see, and to see new Jedi Masters on the Council. So obviously, it's set at a time where it's not the same council that we had in the prequels. So it's some time before that. But it was really cool to see that. I absolutely loved how they teamed up the pilot and the Jedi. There was some nice little comedic elements in that pair up. Like when they first meet and she's like, "You're the Jedi coming on this mission?" Great. They're taking this so seriously. They sent a kid. And he's like, "I can hear you." Just little things like that, just little comedic elements, because this was actually a pretty dark episode once you get into it, because you have this Jedi Toll who is basically wrestling with his fear and the dark side. He's terrified. He's got all this fear and anger, and that he's trying to deal with after seeing all these Jedi mowed down, seeing his master killed, and being left alive by this Sith Lord who basically is telling him, when you're ready for a real master, come see me. Essentially what he's doing. And it was very interesting. I loved, and you were right, this was probably felt like the most Star Warsy of all of these episodes, because it had that it had the Jedi, it had the spaceships, it had, and I'm sorry, that spaceship that they were flying, to me looked like a combination of the Razor Crest and the Ghost.
Yes.
It's the design felt like a combination of those two ships.
Yeah. And by the way, the ship that Bishan is flying and firing those green lasers by, that ship was cool. Talk about a bird of prey. Oh my gosh.
That's kind of what it looked like. It kind of looked like a Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek, the way the wing sloped down and stuff.
Wow.
Just the wrong,
Yeah. Just
series.
looking. Yeah. Well, and I think that's it. Like, unlike this previous thing where we talked about, I'm Your Mother, which is fun, lighthearted, and, kind of fun. This is serious, and it really has the mythology involved. I loved, like you said, not only Jedi and Sith, these statues of prophecy and how you can't see their heads at the beginning, but by the end we see them. And then for me, I was like, wait a minute, again, the second and third time I watched it for a third time tonight. I was that ring, Aaron, right? That connects both of the heads. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just trying to take everything in. Second time I watched it, I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, wait, of course, yes, they're inside. They broke down inside the ring, and then they're battling, and there's all this red and blue kyber crystal. I mean, vast amounts of it. Outside of Ilum, you're like, holy mackerel, where Yoda and Ahsoka take younglings, with Professor Huang. I just thought that was beyond cool, man. That amount of kyber in there, what they call them, the statues of prophecy. I thought it was cool. The lightsaber battle between Toll and Bishan, and his lightsaber, right? Bishan, he has not only a red lightsaber, but out the other end is that snaking cord that he uses to grab Toll and hold him in place before the final scene. Of course, we see it earlier in episode 2 when he kills all those Jedi and obviously Toll's Jedi Master. Really cool stuff. Lots of deep stuff. Even, and I mentioned this, like I said, on Coffee with Kenobi, the balance between light and dark inside of Toll, and how he defeats Bishan when he has the insight of learning why the council sent him on the mission. He has light and dark in him, and there's hope and despair in the galaxy, and that's okay. You and I talked about this with Sith and how she's finally seen, yes, I have light and dark, in the painting, in what is trying to be created here, versus trying to stamp one or the other out. It's both there. And so again, that idea of balance and all this stuff that you and I have talked about, and many Star Wars podcasts have, related to Star Wars lore, Star Wars myths, Star Wars history, and stuff like that. So this thing's jam-packed with all of it. But I'll give you another one. Here's another little thing I loved. You remember when they're in the shop? Just watching it again tonight, Aaron, right? She's in the shop buying those gloves that would end up having suction cups, and she's like, whoop, snicks, like Spider-Man, sticks right to the side of the wall and crawls up, which is cool. She buys that, the parachute. You see Toll standing by the front window, and you see these, I don't know, monks or something walking with kind of like incense burning off the end of these staffs. First thing I thought about, buddy, was Rogue One, when you see Jyn, Erso, and Cassian walking through Jeddah City and all the different sects of the Force. And these guys really reminded me of that. I'm like, I bet you there's some type of, Force sect, SECT. And I was like, man, I thought that was really cool. And I like how they panned out and went way back to Bishan standing up there and his cloak flowing. Oh, man, totally cool.
Yeah, they were probably, since it was all red smoke, they were probably supposed to be like Sith acolytes or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. And, it was one of my favorite parts of this episode is the actual lightsaber battle there toward the end. Oh, that was lit.
Cool.
Uh, incredible. They really went at it in this. He's having Toll is having to face his fear, battling the Sith Master, whose name I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce again, to avoid a Carabas moment. But they're battling each other out, and it is absolutely amazing to see them go at it. And he's beat. Toll is beat. The Sith has him by this almost like a tail type thing hanging over the edge, and it's there he realizes why he was sent on this mission. And it was amazing to see the transformation as he realized his purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he became a completely different Jedi at that point. His confidence rose. He realized his purpose. And honestly, when he got his lightsaber back and he basically cut the guy down.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically decapitated him. You just can't, you get that impression without actually seeing it. But then he's released and he falls because he's being hung over the cliff. He decapitates him knowing he's going to fall. I was pretty sure. I'm like, I can't believe we just saw this dude die. Is what I was thinking as he was falling, because you see him just kind of start to fall and roll over and almost close his eyes in acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was then, of course, you find out, he didn't. It's Star Wars, he survived a 1,000-foot fall with barely a scratch. Actually got up and walked away like nothing happened, which tells me there's hope for Tech.
Exactly. That's where I was going to. Yeah. There's hope for Tech.
There is hope for Tech. I had to throw that in there, but the fight was just so well choreographed, and the animation. I mean, the animation in all of these were absolutely tremendous. They're all different styles, but this one, the animation in each one was, like I said, fabulous. But the animation in this was incredible. The music was incredible too. It told the story on its own as well. So I really enjoyed this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Toll forgot that Ara bought the parachute in the store, I think he was distracted too, though. We know that. But yeah, it's like, in essence, right? Remember, you hear Ara at the beginning when she's looking at the prophecy stone. She says, I want to go or no, I guess when she's talking to the Jedi Council, cut off the dark head, right? And in essence, it happened, right? It wasn't one of the statue's heads, but it was Bishan's, and just very powerful, very powerful. Once again, going back to Dan Z, Dan brought up something, and I guess I hadn't thought about it, but I think he mentioned it when we were discussing Sith, and also here. When you're a Star Wars creative, or these individuals at these various studios around the world, how do you come up with and choreograph new Star Wars lightsaber battles? I mean, a lot has been done. And so to come up with some of these battles and how cool they are, you have to be really creative. And, I think of the scene in this one where they break through the top of the ring, and you see Bishan use his lightsaber and he sticks it in the side of the Kyber and, kind of pulls, sticks it in the side and then slows his fall down. And as you see, Kyber shards, breaking off and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. That's a lot of creativity and animation and choreography to make those look so cool. I'm sorry. Sorry, people. I didn't get the notifications turned off, and here they are. I apologize. It's a Carabas, maybe a Carabas night, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yep. We're having one of those nights. It's all good.
That's right.
So, anywho, fabulous episode. It was really, really good. Anything else about Journey to the Dark Head before we proceed?
No. I mean, I could talk for at least another hour easily just on this episode, but we'll I tried to really convey, some of the biggest things there, and I know you did too. So
All right, perfect. Well, next up is the 6th episode, and this will be our last episode we're discussing this week, which is called The Spy Dancer. Of course, released May 4th, 2023, written by Julian Cheng and Gabrielle D'Adremont.
I think you got it.
D'Adremont. Directed, of course, by Julian Cheng. Created by Studio La Cache.
Ooh.
La Cache.
Yeah.
Oui, oui. Oui, oui. Fabulous episode. In this, the premier dancer, Lily, dances at an imperial frequented cabaret, is tested when her identity is compromised. And of course, her identity is a rebel spy.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Now, I jump right into this because I really enjoyed this episode too. This is an episode that I would like to see a follow-up to, because I need to know what happens after this ends. Because your synopsis was very simple, but and was perfect. But the meat of the story in this is the fact that she's dancing at this cabaret, and Imperial walks in that she recognizes as the man who attacked her village and took her son.
Mm-hmm.
And then she is willing to blow her cover to get revenge on the man who took her son. But when she goes to kill him, she realizes that's not the man, and comes to realize that is her son who has taken the mantle of the man who kidnapped him.
Yeah.
And changes the whole aspect of the story. It was absolutely a mind-blowing episode, beautifully animated. I will say some of the stormtroopers looked more like Porkins than they did stormtroopers.
Right.
Because they had some plump troopers. And you worry about Leia looking at Luke saying, "You're a little short for a stormtrooper." She'd have looked at these guys and said, "Aren't you a little fat for a stormtrooper?" Because they were larger than they should have been. But it was a tremendous episode. The action was just so beautifully orchestrated. Colby Mead, when we reviewed this with Dan, even said it reminded him very much of a Cirque du Soleil type cabaret with the way the dances and everything was, and it was fabulous to see. So of course, Louie is not working alone. There's, of course, a mechanic she's working with that's building a starship for them to escape, whose name is John, and he's, of course, a mechanical genius, apparently, as well as she has an additional dancer that's helping her in some of the stagehands, and it's quite a awesome little setup they have there. But when she realizes it's her son, and she tries to kidnap him, and she escapes out the roof, and of course they're on a dome similar to like you see on Mandalore. It's just a big domed building, and she's standing on the dome talking to him, and she is telling this guy, "You're my son. What have they done to you?" And of course he's not buying it, and of course the whole thing was taking place at night, and it was dark, it was rainy. And they're having this conversation up there, and all of a sudden she grabs him and hugs him, and he doesn't even try to pull away, because I think it's starting to sink in a little bit that he's there, but she's holding him tight, and the whole thing changes at that point, because instead of going to dark, everything just becomes light. It's like the sun rose. And now everything is light, and it just literally, you could see that change in it literally was representative of the change that happened in Loey from going from this vengeance seeking hurt mother to a loving mother with hope.
Yeah.
And I
well
loved that about this episode.
Mhm.
And it was incredible. What are your thoughts on this episode, my friend?
Well, for me, it's the twist. Like you said, I thought, oh man, she's gonna get that guy and the K2 droid up there too. And then, like you said, when she looks, she's like, wait, whoa, you're not that guy. And then as it plays out, and ultimately you do figure out, like, oh my gosh, it's her son. It takes me back to Empire Strikes Back with, Vader. Presenting the twist, right? And we had to wait 3 years till 40 years ago, Return of the Jedi. Had to wait 3 years for Return of the Jedi to see exactly what it was. We were going back and forth. Is Vader telling the truth? Is Vader not telling the truth? And here, this, to have a twist like this, I'm like, that's Star Wars, man. That's and they really did it. They pulled it off, and I thought, and they did it in such a really emotionally powerful way. And like you said, the visual storytelling, just watched it again tonight, like I mentioned, and you do see the sunrise as they're hugging and bringing light, and she has hope, and she knows how to find him, and I think him, her. And so I was listening on the way home, you and Colby on there, and how you said, yes, I'd like to have a follow-up to this, and I'm with you. I'd love to see a follow-up to this particular episode. So good.
Oh, absolutely. It's something that needs to be done, because the way this ends is we have the
all the rebels.
The rebels have left,
Yeah.
and it made their escape. And she, of course, is like, does this nice little speech about how she now feels like there's hope for what's going on, hope for the future. And it's very, very hopeful. It's kind of like the feeling you got at the end of Rogue One after you just watched Vader kill all these fleet troopers, and all of a sudden Leia gets the plans, and they're like, what'd they bring you? And she's like, hope. And you just brightens up after seeing all that doom and gloom. It kind of gave you that same feel. But then it cuts to the son on board the Star Destroyer, and he's got the mother's amulet that he took. And he pops it open or presses on it, and all of a sudden a hologram pops up of the baby.
Yeah. He's looking at himself.
He's looking at himself as a baby. And then it rotates to the backside of the amulet. And on the back is one of the tracking devices that she had been planting on all the Imperials, so they could be able to track troop movements of the Empire for the rebellion. It's now on the back. So now she knows exactly where her son is at all times.
Yeah, that was
And
cool.
I thought, oh my gosh, that's why I was like, I have to have a sequel to this one. There has to be a sequel to this, because it was this is the one that left me out of all of them. This is not my favorite. We'll get to my favorite when we do the final three, but this one was just boom. It was right there. It was just like, oh my gosh, this was probably the only one I was like, give me more.
Yeah.
Give me more. I need to know how this ends. It's one thing to end, with a hopeful ending, but you gave me a hopeful ending and a cliffhanger with redemption on the line. You got to give it to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I loved this episode.
Yeah. You wonder in Volume 3 if they ever would do follow-ups to anything from Volume 1 and 2. That would be interesting.
I would hope so, man. I really would hope so, because it is something I would love to, out of all of them, this, even if they only do one, out of all of them, it has to be this one, because we got to know how it ends. We got to know what happens to the son.
All right. There's our
does
vote.
Does he see the light?
Yeah. Does he take off the eye patch and you can see the two different color eyes that he has?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So who knows? We'll have to just have to play it out in my imagination till then, just like I used to when I hadn't seen Return of the Jedi, and I used to make stuff up in my head about what I thought would happen after Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And it didn't go the way I thought, that's for sure. So anywho, any other thoughts about Spy Dancer?
No. I just, like I said, these are all enjoyable. These first 6, are all just excellent. Like I said, this set of 3 does have my favorite out of the entire 9, and it's Journey to the Dark Head. And watching it again tonight, I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed, man. So that's my favorite out of these 3, and it sounds like Aaron's is in the next 3, perhaps. So yeah, look forward to doing that, but not next week. Like we said, next week we're going to do our Return of the Jedi special episode, and then we'll cover the last 3.
Oh, absolutely. We got to we're going to do the final 3 episodes. That is coming up, but next week we are doing our Return of the Jedi special. That is going to be so much fun to do. I'm so looking forward to that, to just sit down and discuss just a tremendous movie, in Empire Strike or Return of the Jedi, excuse me. Carabas. Anywho. Fabulous discussion. We want to know your thoughts on these 3 episodes of Vision or Visions in general. You can hit us up on any of our social media, on Twitter and Facebook at SW Reactions Pod, on interest Pinterest and Instagram. I combined the 2, Pinterest and Instagram, as well as Tumblr at SW Reactions, or you can email us swreactions@gmail.com. Those are also the same places you can take your time and submit your thoughts on Return of the Jedi. Submit your favorite moments, your favorite memories of Return of the Jedi, your favorite moments from the movie. You could do that either in writing or, like I said, in audio. We would love to hear from you and have you be a part of the show for our next episode about Return of the Jedi. David, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, how would they go about doing that, my friend?
Absolutely. 2 different ways. One is Twitter. That is at David_Modders, MODDERS. The other is Instagram, and that is my name. Just look up David Modders. I think I'm going to post a couple pictures there of some Return of the Jedi toys, kind of in honor of what Aaron and I are doing here. Just so the listeners know, I did send a message out to my local newspaper trying to see if I could get a copy or reprint of the picture. It would have been in the May 26, 1983 edition of the Morning Sun. And it's a picture of a line opening night, May 25th, 1983, in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, at one of the theaters up there. I'm in the picture with a couple of my buddies on opening night. I was trying to track that down because I wanted to put that, Aaron, along with a couple of pictures of some Return of the Jedi toys on Instagram. But I'll try to get those ready so that I've got those there, at the same time that we're recording and releasing next week's episode, our Return of the Jedi special episode.
Very good. It's going to be a blast. And of course, if you do want to talk Star Wars with me, the best place to do that is at Twitter at TAHarris121079. I'm always there and always looking forward to a discussion. So you hit us up there. We'd love to hear from you. Well, David, it's about that time, my friend.
Okay. Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're doing this. Are you ready?
I was born ready. I'm ready tonight.
All right. Well, it is our Star Wars dad joke of the week time. It's how we end every episode. And we got one for you tonight, David. So here it is. What did the Star Destroyer wear to the wedding?
What did the Star Destroyer wear to the wedding?
Ties.
Oh, oh,
More ties.
kind of good. You know?
Lord help me. All right, buddy. It's been a blast as always.
Absolutely. You feel better, and looking forward to next week, buddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank y'all so much for bearing with us. Y'all are awesome. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all are the best. Take care of yourselves. Do something good for somebody this week. It'll make a world of difference in your life and put a smile on your face when you do it. So remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.